Yes, bless. Who's ready? Who's ready? Who's ready for some boom? Boom, baby, boom. Rise and shine. Even on a cloudy, windy, oh shit, someone got a ticket kind of day. And they do that around here. Women walking in, look at her. She's busting her ass, girl. Go ahead, get that wind, get up that hill, make it happen. Shift is happening. She saw me, but she won't believe me. Good morning. And of course, she didn't wave at me either. You know, it's chaotic out here, bro. This crazy ass weather going on. Yesterday, it was so sunshiny and so nice, but shifts happen. That's what we're having this conversation this morning at Saints Addiction. Shifts happen. A shifting in your mind, a shifting in your life. Ways you can't even comprehend. You know, I got the Neville Goddard going in the morning, per usual, and we'll roll some morning motivation. It's hard to hear if he's in the background, but it's true. Shifts are happening. I could not believe the conversation that I had yesterday with my team for Intersect.ai. I couldn't believe that my guy had rebuilt our whole system from the ground up. We're on 2.0, maybe even 3.0 of a system that I was just shocked at how awesome it is that you can have. I asked him to make Join Week Club. I was like, look, it needs a proximity app. It needs to be able to convert to an app. It does that. And it needs to be able to see who's around. Join Week Club. And there it was. Now you're going to have people, whoever joins Week Club will have a name and a destination. And I guess it could put up a map on there too. We were talking about it, but who's near me that wants to smoke with me? You know what I mean, bro? I was just like, what? What a fucking feature, bro. What a fucking feature. You know what I mean? To be able to say, who's near me with some weed because I need a smoke, you know? Or who's near me that wants to get laid because I want to fuck, or who's near me that wants to give because I want to give, you know, or wants to get because I want to give. The possibilities were intense, and that I got off the phone and then I called three other people that are employees of the business. We have employees now. They're wondering if they're going to have polos with logos that I made. Like, I couldn't believe it. They're making a living off of us. Whoo, shift happens. You go and ask for it, and then it's given, and then you don't know what to do with it. And this is what ends up happening. You know, there's plenty to do with the sadness. As I watched this morning, another girl cry and keep it real. She's so pretty, and she's got it all together, right? Crying on Mother's Day because she's infertile. And I broke up with a friend and blocked her because she was bragging. They say, don't brag to the barren. Don't brag to the barren, you know? It's almost like the kid that got what he wanted for Christmas and then the kid that doesn't have any parents. One shouldn't be so happy, you know? And one should be happier. But here we are, where the shift happens constantly. Maybe one day you're at the end of the shit box, you know, the shit side of the seesaw, and then the other day you're on your shine. And unfortunately, with social media, we try to show as much uptime, shine time as possible, and that's just not all possible. That's just not the reality of the situation. So those girls that are, I'm intuitive, I'm a nutritionist, and then at the same time, they're not happy inside. And that's tough. You know, life is tough on people. We have miscarriages, abortions, losses, things that are incalculatable to the human experience. Like, they don't give you that in high school. They don't go, hey, you know, 2 out of 10 of you are going to lose your first baby. You sit around and you think, that ain't me. You know, I'm not getting the AIDS. I'm not getting the STDs. It's not happening to me. And as I had this conversation with my friend deeply by the riverside about abortions and about, you know, how we make choices, and that her body already made a choice and she's just mad at the outcome of the choice. But if she got AIDS, there's nothing you could do about it. Or diabetes. We don't have solutions for these situations yet, but that was weird. My life just stopped for no reason. And that's what it's like. Life can stop for no reason. We have no promise that we'll live tomorrow, and that the children that we have will live. You know, I have another friend that also was trying. They had a baby, a real one, and they did not end up making it in the real life. And they don't prepare you for that kind of shit, you know, in life or in high school or any of the other type of schooling that we talk about that's so fundamental. They don't prep you for that you're in college and your college boyfriend will leave you when you're pregnant, and maybe you have the kid, maybe you don't, and maybe there's bigger decisions than what book you'll read or what grades you'll get in school. Or maybe it's even harder to be a real human under pressure when life actually starts to squeeze. And that's why we call it motivated juice, because the juice has to be worth the squeeze. Life will squeeze the fuck out of you. And then you'll be like, well, where's the juice? Where's my happiness? Where I'm supposed to be blind, like Neville Goddard says, and trust in this miracle that's going to occur, that's going to happen, even though you just went through a disaster and you can't see it. How many of us have been like that? How many of us have been on the limb, on the lamb, on the edge, living on the edge, trying to get away from all that dredge and all that drudgery and all that bullshit that's happening in our lives. And right now, maybe we're not at the top of the hill, Maybe we're on the other side of the seesaw. Maybe we're on the other side of the seesaw where we've been drinking and getting worse depression, or we've been chain smoking and judging. That's what seemed to happen with my friend. She sat there on the couch. She's couch calling, not shot calling, couch calling, of how I should improve my lighting with my models. And they look like they're coming off the street. And literally, my friend had ate herself. She literally looked double, maybe triple the size of what I remember her to be, with a cigarette hanging out one lip and shit hanging out the other, talking a gang of shit, talking like she knew better about modeling when she looked like a disaster, over drinking, over smoking, and then trying to tell me what's what and how it's going to be. Got news for you, son. I got 99 problems, but these bitches ain't one. And their other problems aren't my problems. And everyone's situation has to be written out by them. I can't circumvent or short circuit your experience. You will have to go inside your own mind and live that life. You're going to have to go through some trials and tribulations. It's not like I just fell to the top of the hill. I climbed it. You know what I mean? For my business, how many times do I have to be unsuccessful? How many times do I have to watch all my dreams burn in front of me before I have a kingdom? Most people don't calculate that. They just see kingdoms. They just see happy people with children. They didn't see the miscarriages. They didn't see the broken hearts of families that have held dead babies in their hands, like my best friend. Or me, when the baby's 5 months along and I'm dying outside the hospital because she wants to go kill our baby because she didn't feel that whatever she wanted to feel, that I wasn't safe enough, that I wasn't going to stick around, or that she couldn't afford it, were all poor excuses for a 5-month abortion. And I go into these zones in my head watching this girl. I think it was Susan Kennedy, the Susan Kennedy on Instagram this morning, and it broke my heart, to watch another human being. And I went, me too. And then I said, men too, because we have the Me Too movement, but we got the Men Too movement now. It's not just me too that he grabbed my butt, men too that we died inside when our children weren't born. And that it hurts us to have depression and overweight and miscommunication and dreams not achieved. Like that is not just alone. It's not just a man thing, woman thing. This is a human experience. That's why I said, shift happens because shift happens to everyone. Maybe not in a spiritual sense, right? But the shifting of their consciousness. Of what's important to them. I guarantee you what was important to you is maybe your reputation or your clothes or some high school bully trauma bullshit, right? You're gonna want to look good and feel good and all these other things. Then life happens and you realize those are the little things. You have bigger dreams. These shiftings happen inside of us all where we're just like, man, I can't believe that was my number one priority. Till I got into a motorbike accident in Thailand The truth is I had my priorities skewed, you know? I was worried about my hair, I was worried about my bank account, you know what I'm saying? And then lo and behold, as I'm falling, almost sliding underneath the truck, I didn't give a shit about any of that anymore. That my eyebrows have to raise like, bro, it was the last of my concern. Matter of fact, the only thing I was concerned about was life. You know, please don't let me die. You know, I want more time. And as I leveraged my time against death's doorknob, knocking on heaven's door, hey, 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 you know, knock, knock, knocking. And I was like, you know, I just want my time back. You can keep the hair, you can keep the cologne, you can keep the shoe, you can keep the bracelet, you can keep the bank account, bro. All I care about is my life and living on the other side of this, whatever situation it is. I wanted to make it to the other side of life. And I didn't know I was going to be a successful CEO. I didn't know the sun was going to come out when I started the show. I didn't know. I didn't know any of that shit. You know, all I knew is that I wanted to start a business and be a business owner. You know, I didn't even have a name. It wasn't even Saints Addiction, Saints Brand, Las Vegas Original. It wasn't any of those things. It was just a feeling that a strong feeling that if I owned my own business, that I would be successful and that I could do things with my own life. You know, call it what you want, but that's what I thought. Let's go bless up. So I'm over here going like, man, is this real? You know, do I really have a fucking futon, bed, kitchen, laptops, a team that's making my dreams happen? Is this sunshine really coming outside right now? Get outside, bitch. Open up these doors and give me that shine. Lift up that skirt and let me see them panties, bro. Let me live my life. And what a blessing it is to live, bro. I'm gonna get in. Get in work. I'm gonna make my reality real. You know, it's been real enough. I can tell you that. The pain's real. You know, we feel the suffering intensely. We hold our brains in an intense manner. And in that, I forgot to stay excited. I forgot to be creative. I forgot just how much shift had happened in me before my disasters. You know, before I had risen and before I had shined, before that gap in the clouds, you know, something shifted inside of me, inside my mentality. And it was slowly, you know, after the abortion, I ran. And I ran so far away. Shit, I'm running away now. Shit, I'm all the way in Finland. Fuck what you heard. But this time I'm not running away. I'm running to. I'm running towards my dreams like my hair is on fire. I needed my business. I needed my dreams. I needed it to pull me off the fucking rocks, because that's what life will do. It will shatter you on the rocks, my friends. It will shine on you one day like yesterday and rain on you the next. I promise you. They don't teach you that in school. They don't give you the cheat codes. They don't give you financial advice. They don't give you a partner in life, and they don't prep you for the losses. That's the loss like a boss, bro. You know, they don't prep you for that shit. They just fucking leave you to your life and go, at least you made it to prom. Well, I didn't go to prom to dance. I went to prom to get laid. And that's what it is. It's to experience the full experience of life. It's not just the ups, it's the downs. It's the saints and the addictions. It's the holy of the holies and the shittiest of the shitties. And that's what life is like, holy over shit. Maybe I should make a mostly saint shirt, holy over shit. But Pascha. It's Pascha. That's what they say in Finland. That's shit. Like this kind of shit right here. Somebody just left their shit right there. It looks like a diaper down there. Where are we at? Are we in fucking Brazil? Looking like it. But that's what it is. Life will fucking throw you curveballs, my friend. My friends. And in the end, it's how you shift with it. How do you pivot if something happens to you? How do you stand it when life doesn't go your way? Do you just stay on the couch complaining with that cigarette out your mouth and gaining weight and drinking every day? Is that the modeling and the behavior that you want to give your children? Like my cousin was, he was in the hospital the same day his son was born. His kid was born, his fifth kid, and guess what? He was pulling out shit from the other hospital, came to watch it be born, then he collapsed, and then he was in the hospital too. It's almost like the drunk leading the high, you know? I keep saying it all the time. It's just like, it's not the vibe. And there we are. Shifting in our emotions, shifting in our lives. Most importantly, shifting on the inside. I needed to shift. I needed to shift my energy into things that would grow, like Intersect.ai, or the possibilities of my life, or anything else that I could create with my mind. That's the shifting that I'm talking about. It's the shift that happens in the inside that matters. It's the way that you talk to yourself that matters. It's the way that you talk to yourself and listen to yourself, because the universe is listening too. You don't want to believe it, but the universe is conspiring in your favor. But most of us, when we're at the end of the shit stick, guess what? We don't feel it. And yeah, that's the wrong end of the shit stick. And it came from the Roman era, when everybody used to line up here with little toilets and shit. They would all shit next to each other in the morning, and then there would be a stick with a sponge on the end, and they would dip it in the water and wipe their own ass. Well, if you grab the wrong end of that stick, well, we already know where the shit is, right? And that's what it was. It was a whole light, well, maybe even a covered up light, but a whole shift inside myself that there could be more life, that I was still alive, and every day that I'm alive is another opportunity to express my light. And that's what I started to see. I started to see that I was still alive, no matter if I was evicted, no matter if I was down and out. I kept waking up. That's how this whole Saints addiction journey started. It started with depression. Started with my condo and my career, and all those things left me. And guess what I was left with? I was left with me. I was left with me. 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the morning, going for ice creams, having horrible insomnia, counting the popcorn in the morning. And then I had this thought that if this house burned, not this house, it was way back in the day, 10, 15 years ago, but I wouldn't run. I would pull a fucking, what's his name from Zappos? What's his name? I can't even remember his name now. Damn, I don't even remember his name now. But that dude burned up. He was a multi-millionaire, $350 million. And he's over there in Colorado doing whippets while he's hiking. And when the house caught fire, he didn't leave. I know what that's like. But I have a life to live. He might not appreciate the money that he had and the business that he had or the life that he had. He was trying to hire people around him to doublest their highest salary. All they had to do was be happy around him. That Tony Hsieh, that's his name, Tony Hsieh. And you can look it up. $350 million from an Amazon deal, buying out Zappos, and this dude's buying downtown, doing downtown projects, spending hundreds of millions of dollars, and he wasn't happy. I met that dude maybe 5 times, and he didn't even recognize me. So is it worth it if you don't shift with it? If you don't flow with it, if you don't grow with it, then you'll never know what it is. You know, you'll never get to see what you're really made out of. You'll never get to see the possibilities, and you won't get to see the other end of that suffering. I'm trying to build that bridge. I'm trying to build that bridge for other people and that have addictions and have downfalls and have those downtimes where they fully cry on live because they don't have children. I felt her pain. And most people be like, you're so beautiful. And she made the quotes. People coming up to her, you got to get on the case. You're running out of time. You know, where are your children? Are you planning on having some? It hurts, bro. It hurts inside that people talk about those things that we all hide. You know what I mean? They don't tell you that in high school. No, they don't. Shit, I threw that the wrong way. They don't teach you what you're going to do when the chips fall down. There's no manual for life. You're going to have to find the shift inside. You're going to have to get up just like me every morning and go after it. Go after that other side, not that end of the stick, but the stick way far on the other side of that seesaw so you can start tilting it in your favor. You know, they call it on tilt. You know, when you used to tilt the video games, you know what I mean? They're like tilt, tilt, tilt. You know, we can all be on tilt. You know, we can all be on the other side of the worst things that's ever happened to our lives. And this is what I wanted people to see. That other side. When I say see you on the other side, it's the other side of the depression. It's the other side of you with tears in your eyes. And in your most happiest moments, with more tears in your eyes because you're that happy. It takes time to develop. It takes time to transform ourselves. It takes the universe time to get past the clouds so you can see the shine. It's part of life. C'est la vie, such is life. And there we are. Learning about our capacities, learning about our capabilities, learning how far our teams that we build around us can grow. And that's what it is. I grew. I lost the weight, but I grew up. I gained intelligence, but I left depressions. And I also went after the light that was in my life, instead of counting the clouds and going, oh, it ain't right, the weather ain't right, or it's not the right moment, or I don't feel right. People are waiting for motivation. This is the morning motivation, and it's not that. It's creating that energy and go, I don't like the way I feel now, so I'm going to get up off my ass and go do something about it. And then you know what Saint's Addiction's all about, that I would focus more on my saintlyhood and my life than my addictions that were taking away from my life. I keep saying this quote, but it was so true, that they would say that addictions are giving up one thing for everything, right? But it's like you get everything when you give up that one thing. You get your clarity, you get your health, you get your wealth, you get all of the full life circumstances. Instead of suppressing it or numbing it, guess what? Now you have it. That's something that they can't take away from you. Once you've shifted, right, then they know by looking in your eyes that you're telling the truth, that you're like, this motherfucker's been through some shit. Right? You can tell when somebody's telling you the story by looking in their eyes, that you realize, but they also realize real truths. That when somebody has shifted in front of you, that like me too, like I can tell you the weight is gone. You know what I mean? And the weight's in my backpack, not only my backpack, but the proverbial backpacks, I sell psychedelic backpacks for $50, but the proverbial backpack of life, let me see here. Let me use this example. When I would hold this on, it would hold drudgery, right? It would hold revenge. This bag got heavy with anger and depression. And what I started to do was take the bag off a little bit. Maybe it's not my time to fucking hold this weight on me anymore. You know, like I didn't need to keep that weight on my back all the time or on my mind, heavy in my soul, with tears in my eyes. You know, I was thinking like, let's exercise those demons. Let's exercise those energies and do something with the possibilities instead of the negativities that have already happened, because only a fool trips over something that's behind them. I would spend time regurgitating in my mind plays that I'd missed, things that I said or wish had different outcomes. I didn't realize at that time that I was spending my best time, my power of now, on energies that could be. So if I didn't start going for walks in the morning and drinking water and fasting, I wouldn't have my health right now. And if I wouldn't have started to build a team and believe in a team and build Intersect.ai, we wouldn't have Joey We Club right now. It's as simple as that. Like the math had to be mathin'. You know, I had to add up my life and make it make sense to me, not to other people, not to outside possibilities, not to someone else's judgment or, oh, look at him, what does he think he is, you know? No, it was to be who I wanted to actually be in my life. Do you know what that's like? To say that my life is still happening even when I wake up. Some people don't wake up with I just woke up again. Yeah, it's a new day to fucking get after it. They wake up with the shit. It's another day and now I have to suffer through it. That's how people are. We get into our minds in this morning in this same bed that I wake up in and just go, man, I got clean sheets. I have a whole apartment and sun is shining through these drapes. And I was just like, this is what life's about. And if you watch my live from yesterday, I'm like, I made it. Not that I made it, like I thought I had only made it when my happiness would be when I had $10,000 a month in the bank and my businesses were successful. Then I'll be happy, right? I'll put that right out front here. Let me chase, getting closer, trying harder, doing things. Let me taste, let me get a little bit of that carrot, No, I already knew inside. When I touch when I touch my shell here, kiss the earth, kiss Ko Chang, kiss the happy place, right? That I knew inside that this was part of my life, that it was pulling me away from my depression. So it was already working. It wasn't that the business needed $10,000 to be a success. I needed to be a success on the inside. My success came from not being in jail, right? Having a team instead of being alone in business, and also growing things. Like Neville Goddard says, you don't go into your garden and pull out your flowers and check it, pull them up by the roots and check to see if it's growing. No, you keep nurturing it. You trust that process, that those roots are growing and flowers are going to come up. It's springtime out here. You know what I mean? Flowers will come up. Nature always finds a way. It'll let you know that a new season has arrived and this is a new day. And it's up to you to view it that way. It literally up to you. Lao Tao Kun, as they say in Thai. Up to you. Lao Tao Kun. Up to you if you want to climb that fucking coconut tree. You're the one that has to fall. Up to you if you're going to keep acting that way. You know what I mean? And that's why I say get some act right. You know what I mean? Get some act right. Because the moment you start acting right, life starts acting right with you. And there it is. We'll look at the situation the same and then boom, slap down the 35 cents. And they did that. The psychologist with Tommy Lee and Pamela Anderson are going through their divorce, and he slaps the change on the counter and says, "What do you see?" And she says, "I see 3 round objects." And he says, "What do you see?" "I see 35 cents. Both people are correct. They're just seeing it differently. And that's the possibilities. That's what I'm talking about. The possibility to see differently and look at our lives and go, okay, maybe that was supposed to happen. Maybe I did have bigger lessons to learn about my anger. And that was one of the biggest things that's changed my whole life, was to put that guy away, because that guy would show up and say things that he would regret, tell people off, and they would never come back, and double down on stupidity and make more things worse for me. Yeah, bro, that really happened. So, in my life, as I've learned 45 years of life now coming around, and I just go, wow, there's a lot in our shifting that they don't tell you about. The person that you grow up to be at 15 and 21 and out of high school or just going into college, there's a whole nother level of college past university. There's a whole nother level of the hard knocks, man, coming there. The school of hard knocks is always knocking, and it's ready for you to answer. You hear me knocking? Well, let me in. You know what I'm saying? And that's what it is. You're going to have to let yourself in. Let yourself in on the possibilities. Let yourself in on the future, and let yourself in on the now. Now you have the possibility to do something with that energy. Now you have a possibility to go in a different direction. And now, day one or one day, up to you, today, day one, now it's happening. Now we're launching Intersect.ai in a month. Now we have products to sell, voice AI agents, emails, sites, video editing, apps. It's all possible. All my domain names are in action. Every idea that I had is going to be executed, and I'm in front of it. And I was just like, wow, man, I almost needed it as much as it needs me. I almost need these dreams to give me those possibilities. I need it as much as I drink the water in the morning, or fasting, or appreciating with that attitude of gratitude every morning and night, right? And before every meal. It's given me the right vibe. I don't know what else to say. It's given me the outlet that I needed, and outcomes that I wanted. And that's what I want people to have, this positive outcomes on their lives. And like I said, the best version of me, and all the possibilities from here on out have now been opened up to me through the universe, through the light. And I'm grateful for everything going right. First I went right, then I went wrong. Well, guess what? I've gone right again. And in that churn, in that shift, my life has happened. And that's what I wanted to do for you. So go be blessed. As always, peace and love. And as always, Chigaton. That means goodbye, but not forever in Finnish. And I am here in Finland, and I will see you on the other side as soon as you like, share, and subscribe. The other side of your fear, the other side of your excuses, and the other side of the world, because that's where I'll be, and I am. So peace. Wait for it. Wait for it. Wait for it. And then the clouds pass and the sun shines through. And I want you to wait for it to shine on you. That's this morning's motivation. If you got anything out of this, go outside. Feel that sunshine. Live your life. I'm out. Peace.